Welcome to the Uplift. We have a great show for you today and a great cast of characters, including a so-called high pointer who is on a mission in Florida. So what is a high pointer? Steve Hartman will tell us. We'll meet a little boy who overcame a big obstacle. Now that he's beaten the odds, he's fulfilling a wish. Also, a couple who are embarking on an 11,000-mile trek. What inspired their cross-country journey? We will let you know. Plus, a baby faced with illness shortly after her birth and the life-changing decision her parents had to make. And David Begnaud on a mission. He had a plane ticket to a surprise location and the challenge to find a story within 48 hours. What did he uncover on his adventure? Find out. Coming up, you are watching The Uplift. Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Nate Burleson. This is a show that will lift you up for at least the next 30 minutes. We begin with the man who is a so-called high pointer. What is that? Steve Hartman tells us.
Not since early explorers came here to Florida in search of the Fountain of Youth has there been a crazier quest than that of 47-year-old Andrew Carr. The amateur climber and professional French horn player admits he's obsessed.
We all have things that grab us, and I found myself just charmed by this.
Andrew is what they call a county high pointer. These are people who try to climb to the highest point of every county in a given state, typically Colorado. Andrew spent some time there doing it. But now teaches at the University of South Florida and lives in Tampa, which got him wondering, could he climb Florida's high points?
Unfortunately, Florida makes Kansas look like Kilimanjaro. It's arguably the flattest state in the nation. Doesn't have any high points, really. But if you want to get technical, topographical, and you are truly desperate for adventure, it can be done.
And Andrew Carr is doing it. Using maps and apps and good old-fashioned sight lines,
I feel like we're going up.
Andrew pinpoints every peak.
This is potentially the Mount Everest of Union County.
This one was in a well-manicured public place, but other county high points are deep in the woods or on private property.
Yeah, I think that tree over there is it.
In this case, the home of Debbie Mitchell.
Do you think it's at all strange that somebody drove all the way from Tampa to stand in your yard? Okay.
And this isn't even his most absurd ascent.
Pinellas County, Countryside Mall, front door of JCPenney's, I think, is a strong contender. So I bought a shirt at that one.
Sir Edmund Hillary, he is not. But Andrew says, so what? And has now hit the high points of almost every one of Florida's 67 counties.
On any adventure, and also in life in general, you have to make the most of wherever you are.
Maybe there's a lot more adventures out there waiting for people than they realize.
Absolutely. And every peak is equal.
Every peak is equal, he says, because attitude trumps altitude. Whether you're conquering Colorado's Front Range or just Debbie's front yard.
Could I go up here?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can say I was there.
There you go. I get the point. All right, we take you to Washington's National Cathedral, where new stained glass windows with a message of unity were recently unveiled. Here's Adriana Diaz.
The stained glass at the National Cathedral long upheld a stain on our history. This tribute to Confederate Generals Robert E. Lee and Thomas Stonewall Jackson. They've now been replaced with protesters marching for equality.
It is pretty brilliant, pretty bright.
It's glowing. Kerry James Marshall's art can go for millions. For this, he charged $18.65, a nod to slavery's end.
In a church, you're so used to looking up at the windows and seeing white skin. And seeing black skin here, it's almost like you have to do a double take.
I don't think these windows exclude anybody. I think the activity and what they're engaged in is something that everybody can partake in.
Below are words by poet Elizabeth Alexander, who performed at President Barack Obama's first inauguration.
The final line of the poem, "May this portal be where the light comes in." That can illuminate the beauty of the past and also sometimes the untruths of the past.
I don't think I could have asked for anything more meaningful to have done as a kind of gift to the nation as a whole.
That is Art with the Message. Coming up, a California boy who's spent most of his life battling a rare bone marrow disorder. Now that he's overcome the odds, he's celebrating with a wish. Plus, a couple who are traveling around the country, and I mean that literally. What is the reason behind their 11,000-mile journey? Find out after the break.
A big smile and beaming eyes, Magnum's mom Tashina calls him a rough and tumble joy boy. You'd never know this joy boy spent 4 of his 5 years battling a rare bone marrow disorder.
There were a couple of points during transplant where I wasn't sure he was going to make it.
Doctors diagnosed Magnum shortly after his first birthday, what would lead to 21 blood transfusions and then 21 platelet transfusions during a bone marrow transplant.
I just prayed and I asked God, you know, Lord, if it's your will to take him, don't make him suffer. But if it's your will to keep him here, then heal him quickly because this is so hard.
But through it all, there was one thing that always brought a smile: fire engines, what Magnum calls woo-woos. He even told his mom he wanted to be a woo-woo when he grows up. The first time we met Magnum, the Make-A-Wish Foundation couldn't turn him into a fire engine, but they promised the next best thing.
All right, buddy.
He got to ride in one as a real-life firefighter with El Dorado County Fire. Where's this outfit you got on? You're a firefighter?
I mean, it strikes to the core of who we are as firefighters and why we're here. I mean, this is at the ground level. This is why we do what we do. Strikes at the core of being a firefighter and a parent. I think as parents, we really overlook the fortune that we have with healthy kids.
From saving lives to changing the life of a little boy whose wish came true.
Why do you want to be a firefighter?
Because they help people and save people.
So you want to save people?
After everything that he's been through, just to celebrate the end of everything for him is just wonderful.
Taking an 11,000-mile trek around the country is no simple feat. But when this next couple realized they could use the journey to help causes that are close to their hearts, they got on the road. CBS Minnesota's Jeff Wagner has more.
It was a match made in,
believe it or not, Match.com.
Scott and Katie Freitag were married in 2017. That's where the wild ride began.
We were only married for a couple months when I said we were at the time in our life where we needed to have physicals. He was reluctant because he felt really good, and we found out that his PSA was elevated and a biopsy confirmed aggressive prostate cancer.
What hits you first is, I guess, oh my God, I got cancer.
It's not something I was expecting to hear.
A PSA, or prostate-specific antigen, can detect prostate cancer by taking a simple blood test. The newlyweds battled Scott's cancer together, even through COVID, then a phone call.
No, that's a phone call that I guess no parent ever wants to get. I mean, it's brutal. The battle that people have with mental illness, I think, is a real one.
Scott's son, Benny, had died from suicide.
I've always been a never give up kind of person.
Then he got an idea.
Well, a lot of people bike across the United States, but I haven't heard of anyone biking around the United States. And I thought about that bike trip and how I could use that to honor my life and his life.
With everything he's been through, if this is what his dream is, then let's make it happen.
So they did. Katie drives the truck, pulling a 30-foot trailer following Scott on his bike. She has 2 other companions.
Our Yorkie, who's 14, toothless, and a little bit deaf. Our golden retriever, who is 85 pounds, 4 years old, and full of energy.
Already 2,900 miles into the 11,000-mile trek, they plan to arrive back in Minnesota next June.
If you have a dream, go do it. Live your dream. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us.
Live your dream. Tomorrow's not promised. He's right. Coming up, See the moment when a couple's difficult medical decision for their daughter changed her life. Just months after giving birth, a Minnesota couple was faced with just days to make a decision that would change their newborn daughter's life forever. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield has the story.
And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max.
Little Diana's reading a book about imagination.
That very night in Max's room.
And her parents couldn't have imagined how their own story would unfold.
Getting rushed to the NICU at 3 days old is terrifying and terrible.
A sharp contrast to her smooth and celebrated birth.
Totally changed my life.
But after they got home with their second daughter, their first emergency happened, a high fever.
It just felt like something was off.
Their inclination was right. Diana had bacterial meningitis, a rare condition newborns can contract. She needed a shot in her brain and intensive care. But after months in Children's Minnesota, the little girl made some big progress.
She made it through the meningitis battle, which was huge. That was very, very frightening and very close.
A shot in her brain stabilized. Then another battle. The meningitis was quickly stealing her hearing, fluid causing the cochlea to quickly close, as her doctor explains.
And that if we don't act quickly, we may never be able to give her the opportunity to hear out of that ear. And obviously that's a lot for a family to process.
We had 1 week to make the decision as to whether we were going to do a cochlear implant or not.
They had to decide if they wanted to give Diana a cochlear implant, a permanent hearing device, a fairly standard procedure on older kids. But there was only one child ever who was as young as Diana who had the surgery, because that baby had meningitis too.
And it also disclosed that this is the youngest that, certainly I've ever done, that's ever been done in Minnesota. And there's only one other person that's had this procedure done successfully before Diana.
We wanted to give her the best opportunity to have hearing of some kind, ideally in both ears, and this was the only way to do that.
But they trusted the team had the tools, and after a long and tedious surgery, Diana had a cochlear implant. Because of her delicate size, they had to wait months to see if it worked.
When it turns on, Mama's gonna be the first one to talk, okay?
The whole family watched as the earpiece lit up, making it official that Diana's right ear could hear.
Can you hear?
She's looking to the other side more. Yeah, she is.
I thought it was a beautiful moment. Her eyes got super wide and she's just looking at me with that cute little innocence, like, I can hear something.
What Diana's done and what her family has done, I think will help a lot of people in the future.
The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth.
As they now have quite the story to tell.
The end.
That is quite the story. Up next, David Begnaud goes on a mission to find a story in just 48 hours. What he found was a man who's believed to be the only person in an entire city still practicing his craft. What is it? Stay tuned. You'll find out. David Begnaud, you know that name, our lead national correspondent for CBS Mornings, is embarking on an adventure that has him flying to surprise locations where he is told to find a story. He recently made a stop in Savannah, Georgia.
Here we go! Savannah, Georgia, this is where we're going. Go get myself some sweet tea. Here we go.
This is going to be like the amazing race of storytelling. Because as soon as I found out the surprise destination, they gave me just 48 hours to get there and find a story.
Welcome to Savannah, y'all.
Savannah is Georgia's oldest city, and it is famous for its 22 squares, pre-Civil War architecture, and of course, their good old Southern hospitality.
John, man, I'm talking to my wife. I got to give you a hug because it's almost like I know you. Nice to meet you. I'm talking on my wife right now. She loves your story. What's her name? Darlene. Let me say hello. Say hello, Miss Darlene.
So, in search of a true taste of Savannah, my team suggested we drop by Leopold's Ice Cream, founded back in 1919. And boy, did they line up a special greeter for me.
David.
Are you Mr. Stratton?
I am Stratton. Welcome to Savannah. Welcome to Leopold.
Mr. Stratton Leopold is the 80-year-old owner of this family-run institution, started by his father more than a century ago. He's not just a local star here in Savannah, he's a Hollywood one too. Leopold has produced more than 20 films, but this is what he says might be his sweetest achievement.
This is the best.
It's a food group.
This was my first taste of Savannah.
Okay.
Where should I go next?
Go to Olympia Cafe.
Olympia Cafe.
I'll go down there with you if you want.
Let's go. Let's go.
Now look, I was expecting some classic Southern food, but Mr. Leopold took me to a fiery good Greek restaurant. Over some octopus and delicious pita. I learned about Leopold's fascinating life and fueled up for the next part of our journey.
Thank you.
I hopped on the trolley with our tour guide, Gina. It was a great way to see some of Savannah's best views.
We're one of the few cities east of the Mississippi that allow you to walk around with a cocktail in your hand.
That's a good shot.
You know I'm gonna be posting on Facebook.
Oh, please. How you like Savannah?
We just got here.
It's my first time and I love it. We have the opportunity to meet people like Martin from Haiti. Moved here 19 years ago. Savannah was his first stop in the U.S. and he decided to stay. You know, of all the people we spoke to, I remember Mr. Leopold, the ice cream man, saying, David, you have got to meet Wilbert Boyce.
So the next morning we arrived bright and early, and look who we found sitting on the bench right outside the shop.
Hello, Wilbert. My name is David Begnaud with CBS News. How you doing?
Doing just fine.
Nice to meet you.
Wilbert Boyce is 78 years old. He's a father of 3, and he's been working here at the Barber Pole in Savannah since it opened 25 years ago. It's a busy spot for walk-ins. But for Mr. Boyce, the day moves at a much slower pace. Not because of his age, but because his craft is a dying one.
Are you the only shoe shiner in Savannah?
I'm the only one I know of. I don't know nobody else shining shoes in Savannah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, you know, there ain't that many people getting their shoes shined, that's why.
Is it because we're all wearing more casual clothes today?
Yeah.
What does a nice, shiny pair of shoes say about a man?
Hey, a man ain't saying nothing if he get up and get dressed and his shoes ain't shine.
Boyce discovered his craft at the age of 15 in his hometown of Decatur, Illinois, well before he moved south to Savannah.
How did it come to be that you work here?
I walked by one day and saw the shoe shine stand, and I came in and asked, you know, the proprietor if anybody was shining shoes in there. Wasn't nobody shining shoes, so he gave me the job.
The job looks a lot different these days. Boyce spends a lot more time just sitting and waiting than he does polishing. In fact, on the day we met him, not a single customer dropped by for an appointment or even stopped in to see the man who is believed to be the only shoe shiner left in Savannah.
You think you'll be the last one?
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't think nobody else gonna shine no shoes.
You think some people think that shining shoes is beneath them?
Of course they do. That's why ain't nobody doing it.
How good a shoe shiner do you think you are?
I'm the best. The greatest of all time. The GOAT.
And you know, his customers just might agree.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Like the mayor of Savannah, Van Johnson.
You good? You got time for me?
Of course.
He heard we were in town, and in between meetings the next day, he dropped on by. He told us he's part of the $100 Club. It's a group of loyal customers, many of them attorneys, who pay $100 at the start of the year for unlimited shines. Turns out it was the mayor's idea.
At the end of the day, these shoes look a whole lot better than they did when I came in here.
So, do you want to retire? Any plans of retiring?
I'm already retired.
But any plans of stopping shining shoes?
I don't have no reason to stop. Well, if I stop, what would I do? Just sit at home and watch TV all day?
If you got to watch people pass by, you might as well do it here than at home.
Exactly. You know, and I make $10 every now and then, too.
There you go.
You got it.
As the sun set over Savannah and my new friend headed home, I stood there thinking about all the history in this city. And it made me grateful for people like Wilbert Boyce, who keep it shining just as bright as new.
David Begnaud, CBS News.
Speaking of shoes, remember, it's all about the footprints you leave behind. That's our show. I hope this news brightened up your day and lifted you up. And remember, keep swinging.